know, sometimes I probably appear like a broken record because I talk about similar things over and over again. But you know, one of the things that I think is so important to shooting nightscape images, or let's face it, photography of any sort, is to revisit places that you have been before. And why do we do that? Well, because, for example, this place here has such great memories to me. I've shot heaps of nightscapes here under quite trying conditions, and yet I was really pleased with the way that they came up. And I guess that's really only because of the determination that I had whilst I was here to try and get the shot, no matter what the weather condition was. And even today, I mean, it's sunny now, it's a beautiful day at the moment. 15 minutes ago it was raining, and I was in the car sitting in the rain thinking, well, there's not much here to see today. So especially when you're near these mountainous areas like the Grampians in the background there, the conditions change so much and so quickly. And you know, it's about determination, and it's about that passion that you have. Now, revisiting a place like this is important to me because, one, it gives me a reminiscence. I can remember the shots I took. I love what I got here before, and it brings back those memories. It makes me feel good about myself. And you know, being a photographer, one of the number one things to tick off our list is self-confidence and self-belief. Many creatives, particularly photographers, don't have self-confidence and don't have self-belief. And I can tell you from my experience, it can be like ebbing and flowing, a bit like the water coming in and going back out again. And as far as I'm concerned, revisiting locations like this helps keep that consistency. You know, photography is all about consistency, and anything creative is about consistency, hard work, perseverance. And you know, these are the things that are not in a book. You can't write it down as settings on a sheet of paper and say, yep, I'll do this, 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 and this. No, you have to force yourself into that creative space. Sometimes, for a lot of people, that means getting out to a place like this, where it's just a beautiful landscape. You've got the beautiful mountains in the background, but more than that, I remember good things happened here. So I come back. Even if I never shoot here, at least being here makes me feel good about myself. Now, you know what, I have to be honest with you, this video was never intended to happen because all I'm doing is actually out scouting locations. But you know, as I was doing that, all of these thoughts started to flood into my mind, and I thought, well, I don't know, maybe you guys might be interested in how my mindset is when I'm out doing this, and what it is that actually motivates me. And you know, probably my real thing is that I want to encourage you, because I know how difficult it is for a lot of people just to find these spots, but not only just find the spots, it's to find a place in your own heart to be able to work on the passion and work on the drive and the determination and all the other intangibles, the 1%ers as I call them, to drive you out to actually do this. Because you know what, it's a lot harder to come back here in the middle of the night than it is now. I mean, it's gorgeous now. Middle of the night, it's cold, you know, sometimes very damp and all those other things. So I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. I'm sharing my heart with you, and I hope for you guys that's okay. So I'm going to keep going and see how this video pans out. Let's get on the road. So here we are at yet another lake in this district. This is Lake Belfield, part of the Grampians National Park. All around here, it's a beautiful place. Now, something about this particular spot holds a dear place in my heart. And why is that? Well, have a look at this tree. Now, I have come to this location on quite a number of occasions, but the last time I was here, I actually shot here and I shot that tree. And for some reason, I'm drawn back. Now, I was here in the region, you know that, I've been here for a few days, but why would I come here and have a look at that tree again? I've already shot that. Well, the simple reason is because it's important to me. I love the image that I shot, and you can see from the images I'm showing you now on screen, I went down by the lake and shot quite a number of images here of the old dead trees, the sticks if you like, standing up out of the water. Now this is one of the places that everybody comes here to take photos. There's nothing particularly special about it really. It's a lake with a whole lot of dead trees, and it's easy to access. It's not a hard hike or anything like that. So it's not as if it's a really one in a million location, but they don't have to be. And this is what I guess I'm trying to get across to you guys. You have to embrace the little moments, the little victories that we have. Now, I'll tell you one other thing about this location. When I came here, and it was actually the last time I was at the Grampians, and I wasn't here on a photography trip necessarily, but I did have a brand new lens with me. So I was shooting with my Nikon 20mm f1.8S lens, which I just taken delivery of. And so I brought it down here, and I guess because of that, it's one of those things that just sticks in my mind. Years from now, I'll remember that this is the place I came to test out that lens. And by the way, I was absolutely wrapped in that lens, and I still am, and it's the one I use. Probably 98% of all my nightscape images are shot with the 20mm f1.8 lens. Used to be the old G mount, now it's the S mount. So I love that lens. So here I am, I'm just going to have a wander around, breathe in the air, and fill my lungs with this bit of enthusiasm that I catch from being in places just like this one. Now, of course, I'm very well aware that the majority of you guys follow me on this channel for the images and perhaps the tips and the tricks, the how-tos, camera settings, all the gear I use, and how to do nightscape images. Well, I totally get that, because that's primarily what this channel is all about. But you know, it's more than that for me as an individual. For me, it's about an experience. Now, how do you weigh up the difference between an experience and an image that you have at the end? Now, that's a whole topic in itself, and maybe I will delve a bit more into that. But you know, I'm here because this is a place where I come to when I'm over here. Now, this is about a 3-hour drive from my house, so it's not somewhere I can come just any time. So when I do come over here, this is a place I like to come to because it has great memories. And even though I've only shot here the once, I've actually visited this place every time I come here. And that's just what I'm talking about today in this video. I guess I want to inspire you to look deeper and further than the images themselves, because the images don't just happen by accident. They don't just happen by, oh, I hope I'll get a good shot when I go there. No, I go here and plan in my mind. Yes, I certainly do that. I plan a lot, work out the angles and everything else. But far more than that, I'm preparing my gut, if you like. You can call it what you like, my heart, my passion, whatever it is. I'm preparing that by just coming here and walking up and down this shore, looking at the water, looking at the mountains in the background. It's like the analogy is a rainwater tank. You know, when the tank gets down low, what's at the bottom? You've got all that sludge. And if I'm trying to output sludge, you guys are not going to get much. I'm not going to get great results. But when I fill that water tank, and that's what I'm doing now, I'm out here filling with fresh rainwater, inspirational water. And when that tank is nice and full, whatever's flowing out of that water is clean, fresh, and I hope inspirational. okay? So you'll have to bear with me sometimes because I do get a little bit introspective about these things. But you know, that's what makes me tick. As you well know, it takes a lot of work to get an image. But what about the experience? You know, that's another aspect to it that I reckon is equally as important. But we'll perhaps leave that for another location. Anyway, looks like it's going to start raining soon, so I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to find somewhere else I can fill that rainwater tank. Let's go. So this is Halls Gap, which is known as the heart of the Grampians. You've got this gorgeous stream running right down through the middle of the shopping centre here. You can see people everywhere. It's a very busy place. And I come here because, not for the people, but I come here just to love this running water, love the view of the peaks you can see up there behind me. And of course the coffee and the cakes over here, they're not too bad either. I might even have a look at one of those in a minute. You probably think I'm always eating. Well, you wouldn't be far wrong. I'm off to get a pasty or something now. Well, I have to admit, it is one of my favourite bakeries in the whole state of Victoria. So I got one of their pasties, Halls Gap Bakery. So they're just across the road there. I'm going to enjoy this and then we'll move on somewhere else. Well, as you can see, I've just made the long drive up to Barokah Lookout and it's covered in fog. Oh, it's awesome actually. Now, I won't be able to see much over the edge, but I'm coming up here anyway. Let's go and have a look. Well, this is Barokah Lookout and as you can see, well, I can only just see the rock, end of the rock ledge there, and that's about it. So it's not much for viewing today. One of the good things about that though is there's no one here. And you know what? People say to me all the time, well, why do you go to these iconic places that all the tourists go to? Well, the reason the tourists come here is because they're iconic and they're beautiful. Now, not so beautiful today. Although I'm here, I don't really care that we're in the clouds here and that there's fog and I can't see anything. Listen to that, I'm hearing the birds singing. There's so much here to just get the senses racing. And that's what I'm talking about. See, I'm actually filling that water tank. I'm inspiring myself. Now, am I going to shoot nightscapes here today, tonight, tomorrow? Probably not, because I did that last time I was here. But I do love the images I got from here. And those images are sort of seared into my memory banks. And I say, that's a good image. I love the experience of being there. Now, I actually came up here last year with Bailey. We took quite a few shots, and you might remember that video that I put out about a year ago now. And you will also remember that the last video that there was Bailey and a couple of other guys. So the four of us took nightscapes on the other lookout, the other side of the hill. Now it was much clearer, thankfully, because we wouldn't have got much otherwise. But you know what? That is a memory that I will have from this trip because I usually shoot by myself. And having those other guys there with me was just something that I can look back and say, yeah, I remember that time when Bailey and Luke and Jeff, we got up on that mountain and we chatted and we talked and all the other things. That's filling my tank with that fresh water I was talking about. You know, sometimes we do these things and we don't actually get a shot. But there's something to get out of it. And this video is about encouraging you guys just to get out and scout these locations, have a look around, build memories. And that, to me, is what it's all about. Now, while we're on this subject of looking at things that bring back good memories for our photography adventures, well, I've just driven up to this spot here, which is on the side of the road, because I was here last year, and right over there, was this beautiful tree, this dead tree standing up. Have a look at it now. It's fallen over. What is going on here? It's not a beautiful dead tree anymore. It's laying on the ground. But have a look at that background. Look at the awesome grampians over there. Isn't this just a beautiful place? Well, look, to be honest with you, I'd come back here and have a look at the tree, even if it is just fallen over. Well, I did, didn't I? So anyway, I'm on my way somewhere else. I'll keep going now. Now, as I've mentioned, I'm not particularly fond of tourists. This place is full of them. This is the Reeds Lookout. But it is one of my favourite places, and I can't come to the Grampians without coming here. So I'll just try and avoid them as best I can. But I want to have a look up there, so let's go. So here I am back in what I would classify as my happy place. I mean, this is the Reeds Lookout Fire Tower, and I've got great memories of coming up here, actually only last year. On the tail end of my night shooting with Bailey, came up here and shot some nightscapes, particularly a panorama on the other side of that tower, overlooking this valley down here. Now there's fog and mist and cloud everywhere. It's a little bit clearer than Barocca, but it's great. I love it here. At the moment, there's no one here, so that's even better. But there's a good vantage point down towards the south there. So I'm just going to have a bit of a squeeze over there. I can see that mist rolling in. It's coming from the west over there. There's a little bit of a breeze. I've never been here when it hasn't been windy. Sometimes it's not windy anywhere else and it's windy here. I don't know why, but that wind is actually quite chilly today. You know, I often talk about the conundrum that we face as nightscape photographers, dealing with that disconnect, if you like, between the technical aspects of our photography and the creative side of our photography. So you can spend all your time working on the technical side, camera settings and all sorts of things like that, lighting and gear and cameras and lenses, and it goes on and on and on. I spend a lot of time talking about those things. But you know, the creative side of photography is a little bit less tangible, a bit hard to put your finger on that one. And so what I'm trying to do today is to address that. For me, I mean, you guys are just along here for the ride. But you know, for me, I just need to keep breathing in this air, and I guess breathing in some creativity. Sometimes I'm scouting locations, I'm always scouting locations, but there's times when I don't see anything that's particularly good for a nightscape, but it still looks fantastic as a landscape, and that's here. I mean, that's facing south. So ideally, I'm looking for a view facing east, or perhaps down there in the west. And it's hard to get here, believe me. But I still keep coming up here. And why is that? Because it is one of those happy places I was talking to you about before. I've got good memories coming here. I mentioned to you in my last video that I've been over here to the Grampians 4 years in a row now, each time in June. So it's the middle of winter. That's why you get this sort of weather. But I keep coming back. Why do I keep coming back here? Surely I've seen everything there is to see. Well, I don't think so. And besides seeing everything, it's that experience, and that is what this video is totally all about. I'm pretty sure most photographers will certainly relate to me when I talk about being in your happy place. And it's not just photographers. We're talking about any creative person, musicians, artists, photographers, doesn't matter. When you're in your happy place, a place where you feel content, a place that energizes you, you will create your best work. Absolutely no doubt about that. So as you can see, I spend a fair bit of time pondering these things, and I hope you don't mind me sharing them with you today. I suppose one of the reasons I love this particular spot when I come to the Grampians is because it's pretty much at one of the highest peaks of the Grampians, and so I feel like I'm sort of on top of the world a little bit over here. And I reckon it's built into us as humans to appreciate a high altitude so we can look over and scan the landscape. Now, as photographers, I think that's how we're hardwired, whether it's landscape, nightscape or whatever. So I'm just going to spend a few more minutes here, but I'll leave that with you guys. I hope you get something out of this video today. I appreciate the fact that you're tuning in, and if it means something to you guys, I'd love to hear your comments down below in the section. So till I see you next time, you have a fantastic week.